smoke and mirrors, they lead the way, fooling hearts night after day. Welcome to the show, it's all pretend. The smiles, the lies, the perfect end. The world's a stage, they run the flow. You clap on cue down in the front row. Painted faces, masks of stone. A hollow laugh that chills the bone. Puppets dangle strings unseen. Life's a trick, a cruel machine. Do you see it? Do you feel it? Or just believe it? Welcome to the show, it's all pretend. The smiles, the lies, the perfect end. The world's a
Howdy hoo, everybody. Welcome back. Tonight we're talking about an invisible tax that is quietly being levied on your wallet, a tax based purely on the private details of your digital life. Imagine this scenario. You and your neighbor are both shopping online for groceries. You've both selected the exact same 20 items from the exact same store. You both hit checkout at precisely the same moment. But the final price, it's completely different. And your neighbor pays $114 and you pay $124. Why is this, you might ask? Because you have been tagged by an algorithm as someone who is willing to pay more for those particular items. This is the chilling reality of surveillance pricing or personalized pricing. It's the ultimate retail dream made possible by AI, charging every single customer the absolute maximum they are willing to spend. These days of the single uniform price tag are rapidly disappearing. And in a landmark study, researchers proved that digital platforms are systematically sorting shoppers into these discrete price groups, not based on supply or demand, but on their purchase history, their coupon use, and even the type of phone that they use. Yes, the type of phone that you use. Okay. Over the next few minutes, we're going to deep dive inside the algorithm black box. We're going to explore the vast unseen data trail that you leave behind, and how fast you scroll to what you abandon in your cart, and how this data is used as leverage against you. We'll also discuss the massive regulatory nightmare of the algorithmic conclusion and what the FTC is finally doing to fight back against the secretive new form of price fixing. The price you pay is no longer a fixed number. It's personalized, confidential negotiation between your personal data profile and a highly sophisticated AI. And guess who's going to win that one? So stay with us as we uncover the true piece of convenience on breaking the system, surveillance pricing, and the digital markup. So let's talk about Instacart and the Eversight case. And this is kind of the smoking gun here. The investigation by Consumer Reports and other related or others revealed that algorithms were sorting shoppers into distinct price groups, not based on location or time, but on behavioral characteristics. We're talking about nearly 3 out of 4 products showing price fluctuations. These weren't small random pennies either. They were systematic price differences that could cost a family hundreds, if not thousands of dollars over the course of a year. The key player here is often an intermediary, like the pricing software company Eversight, which was purchased by Instacart recently. These companies promised retailers a guaranteed increase in profit by up to 5%. By constantly running hidden, non-visible price experiments on you, the consumers. So let's define this new price discrimination, what that looks like. So we need to distinguish between dynamic pricing and surveillance pricing. So dynamic pricing is like Uber surge pricing. It's market-wide, driven by supply and demand, and most people that use Uber will accept that, right? They buy into that. That's what they want. There's no secret hidden agenda for that. Okay. Surveillance pricing or personal pricing is different. It is a price discrimination that uses your personal data, your browsing history, your coupon clipping habits, the device type that you use to categorize you and exploit your individual willingness to pay. And this is where the price tag becomes a personalized insult, so to speak. So now let's look into the data blueprint of the algorithmic mind. Okay. So the AI that sets these prices doesn't care about inflation. Doesn't care. It cares about your pain point. It is relentlessly searching for what economists call shopper headroom. How much more money it can squeeze from your wallet before you quit the purchase. Okay. So let's talk about some key points. The unseen data trail, or so to speak. It's not just your purchase history. It's the algorithms that are being fed a constant stream of what we call online fingerprinting data. Okay. This includes how quickly you scroll, whether you search for coupons before you view a product, and if you've added an item to the cart and then abandoned it only to return later, a clear signal of high intent. Okay. A notorious example, studies have shown that users on a Mac or a newer high-end mobile device are often shown higher prices than a user on an older PC. Well, why is that? The device becomes a proxy for affluence or perceived income, which the algorithm uses to justify a higher price point. Your precise location also matters in this. Are you browsing flight prices from a high-end business district or a college town? Well, the algorithms are trained to make these inferences. Okay, and this goes on and on and on into the whole point that AI can be used against us in if there's bad or ill will intent, right? And this is one of those things we have to look at. Is this bad or ill will intent on us, the consumers? Okay. So next, let's look at the black box problem. The pricing software, or so to speak, the black box. Companies often use self-learning or machine learning algorithms. They are not explicitly programmed to collude, but they're often programmed to maximize the company's profit. The algorithms can learn purely by trial and error to set prices at super competitive levels. They recognize mutual interdependence. I raise my price. My rival's algorithm sees it and raises theirs. It's a continuous automated feedback loop that benefits the company at the expense of us, the consumer, leading to high price stability. Okay? And it is stability if we're still buying these things. It's not instability. It's not like the company is losing money, right? They will just in turn lower the price a little bit and more people will come back and shop and buy that price or buy that item at a lower price at that point. Okay, and then the algorithm all runs again. So now let's talk about the antitrust nightmare, the algorithmic conclusion, so to speak. So the biggest concern isn't just that one company is price gouging one customer. The real threat comes into play is that these systems can facilitate an entirely new, undetectable form of price fixing, a term regulators are called algorithmic conclusion. Okay? So let's look at the hub and spoke model. In traditional antitrust laws, competitors must explicitly agree to these fixed prices. Algorithmic conclusion bypasses this entirely. So when we look at the hub and spoke scenario, many competing grocery stores, for example, all use the same third-party pricing software, the hub. And that hub or intermediary can unilaterally set prices across the entire market, coordinating prices without the competing stores or the spokes, so to speak, ever changing an email or a phone call. Okay, so the analogy is here that it's like having three separate chess players, all who hire the same grandmaster to whisper their moves to them. Even if the players can't talk to each other, they will all play a coordinated, profit maximizing strategy. So when we look at Uber, a real-world parallel emerged years ago with Uber and its surge pricing. And a class action lawsuit alleged that Uber was acting as a hub, orchestrating the prices of its competitive drivers. And while this case was dismissed on technical grounds, the underlying concern still remains. When a powerful platform dictates price strategy, true competition disappears. And when we sit back and think about that, it really does. Okay? Here's another textbook example. So there's a famous case involving two sellers of a textbook, The Making of a Fly, on Amazon. Their competing pricing algorithms were set up to constantly react to each other. So one set its price at $1.27 times its competitor's average price, and the other set its price at like 0.9983 times the lowest price. Okay, so this led to a price war spiral in reverse, where the price of the book eventually climbed to a ridiculous $23 million. Right? So what was happening here is one AI would go into Amazon and raise the price of their book. And because that book raised in price, the other AI would come in and it would raise the price of the book that much more. And this kept going and going and going and going. Okay? All the way up to $23 million, which, you know, like who's going to pay $23 million for a book? Right? It's kind of stupid. So what is the regulatory pushback on this and us having a defense as consumers? Okay? And that really is our question for policymakers is, does a consumer have a right to a fair price? And this is no longer just about privacy, it's about economic justice. Okay? So the Federal Trade Commission, or the FTC, is now fully engaged in this, and it has launched an investigation under Section 6B of its authority, which allows it to study an entire industry and not just one company. The FTC is demanding documents from intermediary firms like MasterCard and Accenture and pricing software providers to look directly inside this proverbial black box of AI. They want to know what data is being used for segmentation and who in this process is being harmed. As FTC Chairman Lena Khan stated, I'm having a hard time with this word tonight. Algorithmic pricing could become a major form of a wealth transfer from ordinary Americans to these massive corporations. It's like a recessive tax on being tracked, so to speak. So what do we have in the forms of like a legal action? So the pressure is coming from the states, and lawmakers are introducing bills. OBS messed up here. There we go. It's reconnecting. There we go. Okay. Sorry. Software technicalities. So the aim here is to restore the century-old principle of the posted price, and that is the idea that the price you see on the shelf or the screen is the price that everyone sees, no matter who you are, where you are, what machine you're using. Okay? So what can you do, or what can we do as the consumer? Because we're supposed to have the power here, right? It's not supposed to come from these companies. So there's a couple different things that we can do. We can go incognito. We can always search for high-value items like flights, insurance, or even a new car in a private or an incognito window. This prevents the algorithm from linking your browsing session to your established profile or history. You can clean your cookies and disable your location. Regularly doing this for services and shopping apps denies this so-called algorithm data points that it's going to use to infer your urgency or affluence, right? So basically you're clearing your browsing history so that the AI model can't come in and look at where you've been or predict as to where you're heading or what you're going to buy based off this stuff. Okay. If you really want to get high end and really get technical, you can use a VPN, and you can obscure your true graphic location or geographic location. And this can sometimes influence the prices you are shown, especially for services on things like travel, hotels, flights, things like that. Okay. I have linked underneath a nice little video that YouTube has. So it's called "We Had 400 People Shop for Groceries and What We Found Will Shock You." And so what this goes through is they had 400 people that were all purchasing about the same products from about the same places to see what the difference was. Okay. And so, like, some of these people were on iPhones, some of these people were on other phones, regular phones. And so what they found was that even though these people were sometimes in the same place because they were using different phones, buying the exact same products at the exact same time, okay, almost every single one of them was shown a different price, or at the checkout they were charged a different price. Okay, so all of us that have ever bought something online, right, whether if it's Amazon, Target, Walmart, wherever it's at, are we really getting a fair price on this stuff? Or is our price based off not only who we are, but where we are and what machine we're using, right? Or what we bought in the past. And we could potentially be spending hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars more per year, just based off these companies keeping and collecting our data so that an AI model can come in on the back end and use it against us so that these corporations can profit even more just by selling the exact same thing that they're going to sell every day anyways. Okay? So we've seen tonight that the economic principle established centuries ago, the expectation of a posted price and fair and open competition is fundamentally under attack. And the price that you pay is no longer reflective of the cost of goods. It's reflective of the established depth of your wallet. The algorithm does not care if you're price sensitive. It simply determines your shopper headroom? How much more can it push you before you break and you don't purchase what's in your cart, or you delete that item, right? And you're no longer searching for that item whatsoever. Okay? And when multiple competing stores all use the same opaque pricing software, we then move beyond simple price discrimination and into a very, very dangerous territory of a thing called algorithmic conclusion or collusion. The fight for economic fairness in this digital age now hinges on transparency. We, as the consumers, need to know what data is being used of our data, right, on your computers, on your phones, and how it's monetizing to set these so-called prices that we're seeing at the stores. So that's why the work of the FTC and the state legislators proposing a One Fair Price Act is so critical right now, right? And we really need to be paying attention to this. Because if this comes back, that these companies are free and clear to do this, who's to stop them from constantly raising prices on us? And then it's not about inflation. It's not about how much money is in the market. It's not about how much money you have in your wallet or in your bank account. It's about when are you going to click off of Amazon, or when are you going to stop shopping at Walmart, or when are you going to stop visiting Target online or some of these other shopping institutions, right? When are you going to stop doing that? Because until we stop, if this goes through, until we stop doing those things, the proverbial price is whatever we're going to pay, right? So while these regulators play catch up, and it is really catch up because AI is moving so fast at this point, like we cannot keep up with how fast AI is moving and how fast it is learning and how fast it is changing basically everything around us, right? We as consumers, we're not helpless. Remember the defense strategies. Always search for high-value items in a private or an incognito window if you're going to do it online. Regularly clear your cookies. Maybe consider even using a VPN to mask your geographic location so that the algorithms can't use that as a proxy for your income. We need to deny AI the data that it needs to exploit us in this matter until these regulators, right, can play catch up and can fix this or figure out what's going on. But remember, who's the regulators? They're the government, okay? And the government doesn't always have our best interests in mind, right? Whose pocket is going to be lined because of this, or whose pocket is being lined because of this is already happening, right? We're supposed to already have these systems put in place to protect us. So if these things are already going on, and if our elected officials know that these things are going on, then somebody's pocket is being lined, or somebody's pocket is about to be lined with a lot of money, so that these companies can make even more money. And then they can blame it on things like inflation, okay? So in the end, surveillance pricing is not just a technological issue, it's an issue of economic justice. It threatens to become systematic, regressive tax on us, ordinary, blue-collar, everyday working Americans, transferring our hard-earned billions of dollars, and it will come to billions of dollars, from our pockets directly into these corporate profits. Okay? So, that is our deep dive tonight on breaking the system. As always, thanks for joining us. Be vigilant, stay informed, and remember, right? Your data has a price. Just make sure you're the one controlling who pays it. And with that, let's break the system. We'll see you next time. Peace.